So, Carter, what brings you in today?
Well, I've been struggling with my eating habits, and specifically, I'm consuming too much sugar, for instance, soda and candy.
Okay, so you used the phrase too much to describe your eating habits with sugar. Why do you think your sugar intake is too much?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I can get through the day without eating a lot of sugar, but I find myself drinking a lot of soda when I'm thirsty. I know I should just have water, but it's like I can't help myself. But also whenever I eat candy, I can never save some for later. I always end up finishing the entire package in one sitting.
Okay, I hear you. That's completely normal. Many people have a hard time saying no to sweets, but I'm pleased to hear that you notice your more unhealthy habits.
Yeah, I really do have a hard time saying no. Sometimes it feels impossible to walk away from a sweet treat like that.
Okay, so it sounds like this has been something that's on your mind for quite some time. I'm wondering about your sugar intake habits. When do you find yourself craving sugar the most?
Well, usually I find myself craving something sugary after dinner. It's never really been a problem throughout the day. But once it's nighttime, I feel like I need sugar to balance out my dinner, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. It's really impressive that you haven't let this habit take over your entire day. You have the discipline to keep it to nighttime, but it sounds like that still isn't meeting your standards.
No, it's definitely not meeting my standards because even though I mostly consume sugar at night, I know I'm still consuming too much sugar. It's like I reward myself for not eating sugar throughout the day by eating a whole day's worth of sugar in one sitting.
Okay, so sugar is a reward system for you. Maybe you reward yourself with the sweet treat after a long day at work or an intense workout.
Yeah, that sounds right. After a long day, I try to hold off as long as possible, but then the sugar craving just hits me and I have to give in to it.
Okay, so it sounds like your sugar intake has been one of your main concerns for a while. You understand your sugar intake is unhealthy, but you feel you have no control over your cravings. You also justify your sugar consumption with the reward system. Does this sound right to you?
Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate, I'd say.
All right, so you mentioned that oftentimes you try to hold off on consuming sugar after dinner, but you eventually indulge. How do you think you could go about your after dinner craving differently?
Hmm. I'm not really sure. I haven't put that much thought into that to this point, but I suppose maybe instead of holding myself back, I can just have a little sweet treat like a cookie or something. But I always go back for more. That's my problem.
Okay, so what do you think you could do to keep yourself from going back for more?
I don't know. I also hadn't thought about that. Maybe I can distract myself. I know I always go back for more when the thought of a cookie stays on my mind. But if I get into a movie or something or start work or a project or something and forget about the cookies, then I don't have to go back for more.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm pleased to hear that you found solutions in the past. I'm wondering about your specific cravings. What sweet treats do you indulge in the most?
Well, for the most part, I eat a lot of cookies. I love cookies. Those are definitely like the weak spot for me in my eating habits because I can easily eat an entire pack of them in one sitting, and it does not even matter the brand.
Okay, so it's great to hear that you acknowledge your weaknesses. What are some sweet treats that you can control yourself around more easily?
Well, I noticed my sweet tooth can be satisfied with something like a granola bar, but normally I just have one of those.
Okay, that's a really good alternative. I'm glad to hear you found ways to combat your sugar intake. It sounds like you need just a little more help with the root of this craving and habit.
Yeah. I really want to change my eating habits, but I just need some guidance, I think.
Okay, awesome. That's what I'm here for. I'd love to dive deeper into this change that you want to make. How does that sound?
Sure, let's do that.
Okay, awesome. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, how important is it to you to change your sugar consumption habits?
I would say it's probably about a 7 out of 10.
Okay, and why do you say 7 and not a 3?
Well, I can tell it's affecting my energy levels throughout the day and my sleep, for that matter. I feel like because I'm not feeling myself properly, I'm fatigued at work. And also, when I eat a lot of sugar after dinner, I really have a hard time falling asleep and getting a full night's sleep for 8 hours.
Okay, so you've noticed that this habit is not only affecting your energy levels and sleep, but it's probably spilling over into your work.
Yeah, it is. And that's when I knew it was time to talk to someone.
Okay, well, I'm really impressed that you took the step to come here. That's the hardest part. Um, Thinking about how important it is to you to make this change, I think a pros and cons list would be very helpful for you. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that could help. I like to see organization in that type of stuff.
Okay, awesome. So, after listening to you, I would say some benefits of not changing your eating habits may be that, you can indulge in whatever sweet treat you want and whenever you want. Um, Now, what do you think some costs of not changing your eating habits are?
Well, I would think my work ethic would start to decline because of my lack of sleep or my poor energy levels, but I also might not be able to do fun things outside of work because of my poor energy levels.
Okay, and what do you think are some benefits of changing your eating habits?
Well, I think that I'd feel better throughout the day and I might be more enthusiastic about my work. And I may also get more into hiking because after work, I'll have more energy.
Awesome. I'd love to help you get back into some of your old hobbies. It sounds like you miss hiking and doing things other than just work.
Yeah, I do really miss hiking, getting out in nature and just feeling great. It's funny, the cookies don't exist in nature, but I just can't keep myself away from them. Yeah, I'm only getting older, so I want to make sure I'm creating good habits now that last me my lifetime.
I totally understand that. We can definitely get you there. Now, I want to ask you a different question. On a scale from 1 to 10, how confident are you in yourself to change your eating habits?
Probably a 4 out of 10.
Okay, and why do you say a 4 and not a 1?
Well, because there's some motivation there and some progress I found when I find alternatives like a granola bar, but stuff like that can only help so much. I still fall back into my old habits and I can never keep up with my goal, sadly.
Okay, well, finding alternatives is a great starting point. I'd love to give you some suggestions to help break these old habits, if that's all right with you.
Sure, yeah, I'd love to hear that.
Okay, awesome. So, working with finding alternatives, I do like that you're eating granola bars. Those probably worked for you because they are a lot more filling rather than, like a chocolate bar or cookie. I'd suggest finding other filling alternatives with more healthy sugar, like fruit. What fruits do you like?
I actually really like fruit. My favorite fruit is probably pineapple, probably the sweetest fruit, but I love all types of berries, especially blueberries and raspberries.
Awesome. Okay, that's really great to hear. I know sometimes fruit may not satisfy your sweet tooth, but it will be more filling and it may decrease your cravings. A lot of people also do chocolate covered fruit. So you can do chocolate covered pineapple or berries or whatever you want, and that's still a great alternative compared to cookies. It's important to note that baby steps and consistency are the key to breaking these old habits.
Yeah, I could easily make some chocolate covered blueberries. It sounds really good.
Yeah, and you can also buy these things at the store if you're too busy to make them. I don't want you to feel discouraged from eating these alternatives and breaking these old habits.
Cool, I'm excited to try your suggestions. Do you have any other alternatives?
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you're excited about trying these new things. I would stick with fruits for now, but it is important to note the diversity of fruit. Along with the chocolate-covered fruit, you can do smoothies or fruit bowls. But I do have one last suggestion for you if you're open to it.
Sure, yeah, I'm open to that.
All right, so you mentioned that cookies are your weakness, and it's often very difficult for you to control yourself around I want to invite you to consider taking cookies out of your pantry. Obviously this doesn't remove the craving, but making it difficult to access may discourage you from indulging in it. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's a little bit scary. I think that one will definitely be harder to implement, but I'm willing to try it for sure.
Awesome. That's really great to hear. It sounds like you're ready to make this change and put in the effort to break your old eating habits.